All right, welcome back everybody to part 2 of section 1.6 where we're doing absolute value inequalities. So remember that an inequality or absolute value is talking about a distance. If it's less than, like this, that means we're talking about a distance that is when it's in a certain range of values. So with absolute values, you're going to get two answers. A less than is going to be all the numbers in between those two answers, and then a greater than, it will be all numbers outside of those two answers. All right, so let's break down this first one. What we're going to do is set up two equations. Now, remember, you make the number negative in the other equation, but you also flip the inequality. So notice that this changed directions from this. All right, so when you make this negative, it's kind of like multiplying by a -1, which necessitates flipping the inequality sign. So now I'll solve the one on the left, solve the one on the right, and we get x is less than 3, and x is also greater than -2. So we're going to be between those two values. All right, and this is an and equation. So both things have to be true. That's why it's just the overlap, or it's just the numbers in between those two values. So now, of course, we have to isolate the absolute value before we split it up into two equations. Doing so gives us this, and now I break that into two inequalities, remembering to flip the sign and make it the opposite number on the second equation there, or second inequality there. Solving each of those gives us x is greater than 7, x is less than -1. This is actually like an or problem. So greater than 7 or less than -1. Open circles with the less thans, closed in circles with less than or equal to's. Yeah, I'll do the next one in the same video. All right, so here, a distance can't ever be negative, but it's greater than. And think about an absolute value is always going to be positive, right? This is always positive. So anything we put in there will give us a positive result, which will be bigger than a negative. So this is actually going to be all real numbers. Any number we plug in. Now I'm just going to show you how that works out. If I were to split it into two equations, solve it, make sure I have the negative there. I've flipped this, which made it positive because it was negative before. And then solving those two gives us this. And remember, this was an or equation. So if I say x is greater than 8 or less than -2, well, greater than 8 or less than -2, that's every number is bigger than -8 or less than -2, so that's all real numbers. That's just a little bit of the quasi-proof there. And then with the next one, we're going to isolate the absolute value. All right, now we're looking for an absolute value of something less than a negative. Well, absolute value is always going to be positive, equal to 0, or positive, and there's no way for an absolute value of something to be negative or less than a negative, so that's going to be, or think about a distance being less than a negative, that doesn't work, so that's going to be no solution.